Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming here to this presentation. If your business is stuck or feeling like growth or revenue has slowed down, this one's going to be for you. We're going to talk about how we work with business to help them get ready for exit by fixing their revenue process and giving them a sustainable system for growth. If any of these sound like you're in the right place. Either your sales are flat, your marketing, you don't know what's happening, you're not confident to invest money into there, profitability stagnant or declining. You feel like the business is kind of stuck or hit a plateau. And with wearing so many hats, you don't know where to go next. And what we're going to do here is we're going to unpack some of that because a lot of this can be derived from the revenue process. That's a combination of what we call marketing and sales. What we're going to get out of today is you're going to have a path to building a predictable revenue generating machine. And we're going to give you some tools of how to implement that, as well as some follow on videos that'll go a little deeper on some of these topics. So it all starts with owner-led sales. As a company or as a startup, you're the sole person responsible for everything. You get the lead, you run the lead, you sell the job, you fulfill the job, you're the customer manager, the bookkeeper, you do it all. And while that's a lot, it also is a good thing in the sense that you know everything that is happening. However, as we grow, we could kind of be a victim of our own success. As we add people, systems, processes, it just continues to get more complicated. That's just the nature of the beast. It's nothing you've done. It's just your focus is on growing the business, not necessarily keeping the processes tight. That's okay. And at a certain point, it gets to a place where your business may be doing a few $1,000,000 in revenue. You've got a dozen employees, and you've been growing for 3 or 4 years, but now it's starting to feel stuck, or we're not really sure of how to take it to the next level. Oftentimes, this is a process problem, especially when it relates to the revenue generating process. And this is a common story we get from a lot of businesses, and probably something you've experienced where in a normal business, marketing generates sales or generates a lead, sorry. We can't get those two confused. There will be fighting. On that lead, notes may or may not be recorded. That marketing lead hands it off to an SDR for follow up. There's a delay in the handoff. And because of that, the prospect's intent starts to decrease over time. However, the prospect finally responds after a week of follow ups. The SDR, they realize, oh no, this person is unqualified, but I'm only 3 weeks away from the end of the quarter, so I got to hit my pipeline goals. I'm moving this one over as qualified to the account exec. Well, the account exec gets it. They make a pitch, realizes this person isn't exactly qualified, and they struggle to close it. However, in the CRM, they mark it as a high chance to close with a relatively good average deal size so that their pipeline also looks good by the end of the month, because now that's only 2 weeks away. As a leader, you're looking at the dashboard, if you have it, and wondering what is going on. Why are these qualified leads not closing? And at the end of the day, everyone becomes frustrated, sales stagnate, your margins decline, and you're left wondering what is going on in my business? Why is this not working anymore? And the reality is sometimes we think, okay, we just need to invest more in sales. We need to invest more into marketing. We need to buy this new software. But at the end of the day, investing more into a process that may be broken only creates more loss, more confusion. It compounds the problem in terms of more ad spend that is inefficient, more overhead, more software, as we mentioned. And the really big issue here is that a lot of companies in your range are growing from a few million to 10 million and beyond. They don't need dedicated marketing and sales team. That's something for bigger, more developed companies. And the reason is that there's too many silos and leaks that happen when we departmentalize these important revenue driving functions. At the end of the day, revenue is the goal. It's not marketing leads, it's not sales ready leads, it's not sales proposals. It's revenue. We're all going to the same position. And that's why I say we need a revenue leader instead of a marketing and sales department that drive their own initiatives. Because what happens is as we grow the company and you're successful in growing your business, the underlying processes may develop leaks. And this happens for a lot of reasons. It's complex. For one, it's team member to team member. There can be some tribalism where marketing is defending the leads as high quality, pointing the finger at sales, they're not closing it. You have this back and forth, a lack of clarity on what is good, but also a lack of ownership that comes from a lack of clarity. Of course, you have a diffusion of urgency and responsibility, so things don't move as fast. You add that to a system or systems of which, hey, I'm getting all my leads in Google Ads, I'm putting them into this pipeline, and then I'm handing it off to the sales CRM. Then That sales CRM is going somewhere like a Service Titan, a Service Minder, or HubSpot, somewhere where we're managing our customers. Now all these systems are not syncing up. So your data is leaking, your team member communication leaking. It's like a bad game of telephone that only affects the business in terms of less revenue, less predictability, shrinking margins, and just a lot of frustration because you're having to play referee for a very important component of your business. What we recommend here and what I've seen work for a lot of companies is a unified revenue concept. Let's bring it all together under one umbrella and go towards the same goal we all want. When we do this, we have a focus. Again, a common goal. And by having a common goal, we have a common sense of purpose. We're all going to the same place together. We're rowing the boat together in the right direction. And for our customers, because we're seeing this across the whole customer journey, our customer experience improves. We're not losing communication. We're not slipping or losing data, and it's not slipping through the cracks. It's a seamless experience across all the touch points, and we can have an actual process to improve. At the end of the day, teamwork makes the dream work. We want collaboration over departmental silos and some of this tribalism that comes between marketing and sales. By doing that, we build culture. We build a winning, performance-based culture. And so one recommendation we have here is that instead of looking at this from a department standpoint, whether it's marketing, sales, or even customer success, let's look at it as something more in tune with a process. The process being generating revenue. Moving away from departments that are doing tasks like social media, SEO, or sales doing follow-up cold outreach to generating revenue. How do each of these touch points lead the person, the customer, down the customer journey and turn into sales? And in doing so, we need to shift our mindset just a little bit to get to this point. And what we have when we get to that point, and it takes time, is you have a revenue driver, someone who owns revenue, the process of it, from cold to sold. We'll leave customer success and fulfillment out of this for the time being. What they can also do is better problem solving. They can cut through the departmental barriers, get to the root issue because they're not burdened by red tape or procedure. They're the ones driving the revenue. And in doing that, they become accountable to the income statement, which is revenue. We can hold clear focus that your number one outcome and metric that we report on and you're incentivized on is revenue. Drive that. And so what's important here is that these small incremental changes across this process can lead to big results, both in the negative and in the positive. We're going to look at the positive because we want everyone to be winners here. Revenue goal, 10 million. Average job size, 12. Jobs required, about 3.3 per day. Lead to sale, 12%. Leads required, we need about 28 a day. And to fulfill that, based on our estimations here, we need about 4 sales reps. So what's important here is we're establishing our process from touch point and individual business stage all the way through to sale so we could see what kind of an impact small changes or leaks can have on the outcome of your business. You might have to squint or zoom in or pause here to see the numbers, but if we improve each stage by just 10% from the lead generation to the lead to appointment effectiveness, to the opportunity to close, to the average job size, what does that mean for the business? Well, if we modify or improve these touch points, your business improves by 48%. And again, this is on a small number. If you add a couple zeros to this, if you're already doing a few millions, the impact can be substantial. And this is without spending any additional money pouring into advertising. This is maximizing what we have, doing less with more. And so the goal of this is to show you that there is a better way and a different way that you might be thinking of. How do you look at marketing and sales and turn it into a function? Our goal in this series is to build you a revenue machine, something that is predictable, it's scalable, and it's dependable. It can't be thrown off course by politics or anything else. The process is the champion, not the person. And to do that, we got to build some things. This is just a quick overview. You might want to pause this and look at it, but we're going to have more documents coming up. So first things first, what we're going to learn here is how to do a revenue review process. How do we deep dive into that whole process from lead generation to sales closing and understand what's going on, what's working, what isn't, and how do we build a plan? So it becomes discovery, analysis, we build the plan and we implement in 6-week sprints because if we do it all at once, it will be overwhelming and we won't get anything done. I'm sure you guys know from project management, sometimes it just doesn't go that way. But also then, once we get it to a certain point, we're going to have automated reporting, which will lead to dashboards, which will lead to improvements in scale in a repetitive process so that we can build the system over time. Now, I don't want to make a 45-minute video here. I wanted to give you a quick hit here, and we're going to have more supporting documents coming up. So first things first, this is video 1 of a 3-part series. The next 2 videos coming will map out the customer journey, the business stages, how to create a content strategy, how to do the revenue audit, the checklist and all that comes with it, as well as I'm going to give you the workbook you see here to map that all out and build it for yourself. The third video beyond that is going to be how do you use this as a leader to become a revenue scientist? How do you turn the revenue process into a data-driven experiment? And how do we do that to continually improve? So stay tuned. You should have some links in either the description or the email that you found this on. And if you don't, reach out to me. You have my information in the first slide. But stay tuned because next week or next video, my bad, we're going to be talking about how do we go in and do our own audit and start building. So stay tuned and we're going to build a revenue machine together.